Hello guys, myself Ujjwal Gawande and today we are going to discuss about pains involved in the left hypochondrium region. Before that, we will see the organs present in the left hypochondrium region. They are spleen, tail of pancreas, left kidney, stomach, part of fundus and part of body of the stomach, part of transverse colon, part of descending colon, top of left lobe of liver, part of small intestine. So, to study the pathologies of the spleen, first we should know the anatomy and the physiology of the spleen. So, the normal weight of the spleen is 80 to 300 gram, which is located from 9 to 11th rib on the left side. The splenic parenchyma is of two types: red pulp, which is a honeycombed vascular space, and white pulp, which contains the lymphatic tissue. And the blood supply for the spleen is splenic artery. The function of the spleen are: first, the destruction of senile RBCs. The senile RBCs are more fragile, and the diameter of the capillaries of the spleen is less than the diameter of the RBC. Due to increased fragility and small sized capillaries, the RBCs are destroyed or destructed in the spleen. The another important function of the spleen is production of lymphocyte, monocyte and plasma cells. Spleen is also very much helpful in the production of antibodies, and spleen also act as the reservoir of the platelets. So now we will see the pathologies involved in the spleen. They are splenomegaly, rupture of spleen, congenital abnormalities present in the spleen. So first we will see splenomegaly. It is a clinical condition characterized by the enlargement of the spleen. Splenomegaly typically involves the expansion of the red pulp. Splenomegaly takes place in the abnormal conditions like blood disorders such as leukemia, autoimmune hemolytic anemia, sickle cell anemia. It also takes place in the infections like bacterial infection such as typhoid, tuberculosis, septicemia, viral infection like infectious mononucleosis, parasitic infection like malaria and Kala Azar, and also takes place in circulatory disorders such as infarct and portal hypertension. So, what will be the clinical features for the splenomegaly? There will be the pain in the upper left abdomen that may spread to the left shoulder. There is sensation of fullness in the abdomen. The patient feels the the stomach is full even though without eating. The patient may be anemic, fatigue, and there is more chances of the infections, recurrent infections. For diagnosis, we can do palpation in which the spleen is palpable, and other diagnostic methods are sonography and CT scan. The another clinical condition of the spleen is rupture of spleen. Rupture of spleen may be a spontaneous or due to a trauma. A trauma like penetrating trauma, non-penetrating trauma, or operative trauma. The pathology of the rupture of spleen is classified on the basis of acute rupture, delayed rupture, and occult splenic rupture. In acute rupture is caused due to the blunt trauma where the patient succumbs rapidly, giving no chance to initiate the proper treatment, or there may be initial shock from which the patient gets recovered. The delayed rupture starts after few weeks of trauma. It is intraperitoneal condition and it is due to the blood clots. The occult splenic rupture occurs due to the intrasplenic or parasplenic hematoma So what will be the clinical features of the rupture of the spleen? There will be a slow developing hemorrhagic shock. Patient will be anemic. Patient will have tachycardia, hypotension. The extremities of the patient will become cold and clammy. There will be the abdominal distension. So what investigations should be done in the case of rupture of spleen? They are hematocrit. It is also known as PCV. If the bleeding is major, then the value of hematocrit will be reduced. We can also go for X-rays, where the enlarged splenic shadow and elevation of the left side of diaphragm is seen. We can also go for sonography, in which the spleen will show the hematoma surrounding the capsule. Other investigations can be done in the rupture of spleen are splenic angiography, CT scan. Now we will see the congenital abnormalities of the spleen. The congenital abnormalities are the rare conditions, but if present, then they are spleninculi, absence of spleen, or splenic cyst. So first we will see the spleninculi. It is a clinical condition where a single or a multiple accessory spleens are present. These accessory spleens are found near the hilum of the spleen. Few accessory spleen may found or seen at the splenic ligament or near the mesocolon. The another congenital abnormality is absence of spleen. It is a very rare condition, but if present, it may associate with other congenital abnormalities, particularly of heart. These patients are often liable to the fatal infections. Splenic cyst. It is of two types: true splenic cyst and false splenic cyst. The true cysts are formed from the embryonal rest, and the false cyst is formed from trauma which contains a serous or hemorrhagic fluid. So now we will see about the pancreas. To study or to discuss the pathologies of pancreas, first we will take a quick overview on the anatomy and the physiology of pancreas. The normal weight of the pancreas is 60 to 100 gram, and it has four parts. First is head, which is the widest part of the pancreas and lies in the duodenum. The second part is the neck, which connects the head and the body of pancreas. The body of pancreas has three surfaces: anterior surface, posterior surface, and inferior surface. The tail of pancreas is a thin tip of pancreas in the left side of abdomen. The function of the pancreas are: it performs two functions, exocrine function and endocrine function. In exocrine function, it secretes the enzymes which are helpful in the digestion of food. The enzymes like lipase, amylase, and protease. Endocrine function, in which it plays an important role in the regulation of blood glucose level by the two important hormones like glucagon and insulin. Glucagon functions as a glycogenolysis, in which the glycogen stored in the liver are, are lysed and the glucose is released into the blood, while the insulin converts the blood glucose into the glycogen in the liver. So the pathologies involved in the pancreas are diabetes mellitus, pancreatitis, endocrine tumor of pancreas. So first we will see the diabetes mellitus, which is the most common clinical condition nowadays. It is a clinical condition which is characterized by the abnormal increase in the blood glucose level. Diabetes mellitus is of two types: type 1 diabetes mellitus, type 2 diabetes mellitus. Type 1 diabetes mellitus is seen in the early age group, which is the insulin dependent diabetes mellitus, where the actual deficiency of insulin is seen due to the less production of insulin. This occurs due to the autoimmune destruction of the beta cells of islets of Langerhans. The CD4 plus T cells infiltrates in the islets and surrounds the beta cells and destroys it. This leads to the less secretion of and production of the insulin, which causes the insulin deficiency. Now we will see type 2 diabetes mellitus. It is the non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus seen in the elderly age group. The exact cause of type 2 diabetes mellitus is unknown, but it may be due to stress or genetic, or it is a lifestyle disease, and it occurs due to the failure of the binding between the hormone and the cell receptors, due to which the glucose is not taken up by the cells and remains in the blood. This leads to the secretion of more and more insulin, which leads to the hypertrophy and hyperplasia of the beta cells of islets of Langerhans, which further leads to the less and less secretion of the insulin. But initially, the insulin level is normal in type 2 diabetes mellitus. So, what will be the clinical features for the diabetes mellitus? The patient will have polyuria, polyphagia, ketonuria, acetone breathing. Patient will have intense thirst, generalized weakness. The patient will be confused at the mind level. Memory loss, blurring of vision is also seen in the diabetes mellitus. So, what investigations we are going to advise for the patient? So, they are fasting blood sugar test, and second one is glucose tolerance test. Now we will see pancreatitis. It is an inflammatory clinical condition of pancreas. It is of two types: acute pancreatitis and chronic pancreatitis. Acute pancreatitis, inflammation of pancreas which occurs suddenly and goes away after a few days to few weeks. It does not persist for a long time and appears within the few weeks, or it may disappear within the few days also. The causes for acute pancreatitis are gallstone, abuse of alcohol, and metabolic factor like hyperlipidemia. Chronic pancreatitis, recurrent attack of acute pancreatitis or long-lasting inflammatory condition. It is termed as acute chronic pancreatitis. The etiology for chronic pancreatitis will be chronic alcoholism, biliary tract disease, and the metabolic factor like hyperlipidemia. So, what will be the clinical features for the pancreatitis? The patient will suffer from the radiating type of pain from epigastrium region to the flank. This radiation of pain depends upon the involvement of the site. If the inflammation of head is seen, then the pain radiates to the right side from the epigastrium region, while if the inflammation of tail, then the pain radiates to the left side from the epigastrium region. This radiating pain aggravated by the lying down and feels better by sitting or bending forward. The patient will also have nausea and vomiting. So, the investigations in the pancreatitis can be done are the serum amylase level. which will be increased. Serum lipase level, which will be also increased. Urinary amylase level, that is also increased. Urinary lipase level, that is also increased. And we can do a barium X-ray. If head of pancreas is involved in the pancreatitis, then the C loop of duodenum is enlarged. Now we will see the endocrine tumor of pancreas, which is of two types. One is functional tumor, another one is non-functional tumor. The functional tumor secretes the hormones which are secreted by pancreas, like glucagon and insulin, in excess amount, whereas the non-functional tumor do not secrete any type of hormone. Now we will see the abnormal conditions of the kidney. So before that we will see the normal anatomy and the physiology of the kidney. The normal weight of kidney in male is 150 gram, while in female it is 135 gram. The left kidney is slightly located posterior than the right kidney due to the presence of stomach on the left side, while the right kidney is slightly inferior than the left kidney due to the presence of liver on the right side. The blood supply for the kidney is renal artery, and renal vein drains the blood from the kidney. So the functions of the kidney are: kidney has the important function of excretion of the metabolic waste such as urea, uric acid. It also helpful in the maintenance of electrolyte balance. Kidney also regulates the acid base level in the body, and kidney is very much helpful in the production of hormone like erythropoietin, which is responsible for the erythrocytosis and erythropoiesis. So the pathologies involved in the kidney are: there are many pathologies involved in the kidney, but in our session we are going to discuss about the two important pathologies, which is renal failure and nephrotic syndrome. Renal failure. Renal failure is of two types: acute renal failure and chronic renal failure. So, what is acute renal failure? It is a clinical condition of the kidney which is characterized by the decrease in the glomerular filtration rate. The etiology behind the decrease in GFR is blood flow obstruction, there might be infection, there may be inflammatory conditions, or there might a direct damage to the nephron. So in such case, the clinical features for acute renal failure will be hypertension, the urine will be tea colored, there will be oliguria, patient feels muscular pain, patient also give the complaint of heaviness in the leg. Now we will see chronic renal failure. It is a clinical condition of kidney in which the decreased function of kidney is seen for greater than 3 months, where the GFR is reduced to or less than 90 ml per minute. But this is a reversible condition. Or GFR will be 60 or less than 60 ml per minute, which is the irreversible condition, because the death of nephron and necrosis in the nephron has been initiated in such condition or in such stage. So what will be the clinical features? There will be hypertension, oliguria, edema. So what investigations we are going to do in the renal failure? First we will see the serum creatinine level, which will be increased. more than 1.3, there will be electrolyte imbalance and we will see the hyperkalemia, which is the increased potassium level, hyponatremia, which is decreased sodium level, hypocalcemia, where the calcium level is decreased, and the hyperphosphatemia, where the blood phosphate level is increased. We also do the blood urea nitrogen level, and this level is also increased in the renal failure condition. Now we will see the nephrotic syndrome. Nephrotic syndrome is characterized by the foremost clinical and major conditions. They are heavy proteinuria, which is 3.5 gram per day or more than that. There will be hypoalbuminemia, there will be edema, hyperlipidemia. So, what are the clinical features we are going to see in nephrotic syndrome? The patient, the one who is suffering from nephrotic syndrome, there will be the periorbital edema in that patient. There will be a peritibial edema, or there might be ascites, and frothy urine is also seen in the patient of nephrotic syndrome. So, what investigations we are going to do? We will see the cholesterol level, which will be increased, triglyceride levels, which will be increased, VLDL, LDL, that are also increased, but the HDL level is decreased in the nephrotic syndrome. Thank you for your patience listening.